If you're a little something like me, you love fighting games. There's nothing like clutching out a really close game by finally punishing that one habit your opponent's been doing the whole time, or the rush you feel from winning against a tough opponent, or even getting absolutely stomped into the ground just to be put into perspective how much room there is to grow. That's why whenever I played Mario Tennis Aces, I sort of started to compare it to a fighting game.
I hate this chair.
And okay, obviously there aren't complex button inputs or combos, like you don't even punch any of your opponents. But when I really started to think about it, there were a couple of basic fundamentals / different stages in the game that are very similar to fighting games. And I'll go ahead and break it down into 3 sections for you. Neutral. What is art? What is love? What does it mean to live? What is neutral? These are all questions that, for the entirety of time, people have been unable to answer. Wait, actually we kinda know what neutral is. Basically, no one has the clear upper hand in the game, but both players are competing to gain stage control, or put themselves in an advantageous state. So, how does this apply to Mario Tennis Aces? Well, the same ideas apply here. 2 opponents are competing in neutral, they're trying to get the upper hand. Now, like any fighting game, different characters specialize in different ways to win neutral. I wouldn't say it's as complex as traditional fighting games, but the concept is definitely still there. For example, some characters can send the ball way into the corners and make a slow character who can't keep up either miss the ball completely or lunge for that ball and hit it badly. You can also use different types of shots in order to mix up the way you approach neutral. And once you gain control, you're put into an advantage state. Much like in platform fighters, when your opponent is off stage and you have full stage control. Or as another example, when you're using a block string in traditional fighters and you're plus on block, meaning it's still your turn to pressure them. And on the other side of the coin, well... Obviously the main point in tennis is to score a certain amount of points against your opponent so you can win the game. And to me it's pretty much like how many times do you have to win neutral in order to win. Yeah, in this game you pretty much have a lot of options you can use in order to score your points. For example, you can choose from a handful of different shot types. You can condition your opponent and punish them, you can mix them up, you can back them into a corner, make them make a bad decision. Like any good fighting game, it should feel like you're having a conversation with your opponent. You should see what's going on in neutral, how are they responding to your pressure, or how are they pressuring you. Which brings me to my next point.
Look, there's only one reasonable way to settle this. Rock, paper, scissors. Poor, predictable Bart always takes rock. Good old rock. Nothing beats that.
Now, if you've played any fighting game seriously, you'll know that there's a rock, paper, scissors element built into the gameplay. Block beats punch, punch beats grab, grab beats block. So how can you apply this to Mario Tennis Aces? Well, as I mentioned previously, there's a couple of different basic types of shots you can use. There's the top spin, indicated by an orange trail on the ball, the slice, indicated by a blue trail on the ball, and the flat shot, indicated by a purple trail on the ball. Each powered up version of these shots has an effect on the opponent. Topspin have a high amount of stun on them, flat shots pushes back the opponent, and slice makes them spin around. However, if the opponent responds with the correct type of shot, then these effects will be minimized. If they use a topspin, well, you respond with a slice. If they use a slice, well, you respond with a topspin. And flat shot basically cancels out each other. Pretty much just try to make purple. But yeah, it's important to have these different options, because if you didn't, then rallies could pretty much go on forever. So herein lies the rock, paper, scissors element of this game. I mean, it's not quite as deep and intricate as traditional fighters, again, but you have to admit there is some counterplay going on here. Not to mention, each shot has a different purpose. Topspin gives you the most control of the ball and it travels pretty quickly. A slice isn't quite as fast, but it has a lot of curve to it, and it can help you regain your footing because of how slow it travels. And the flat shot is the fastest of any shot, but it has the least amount of control. Throw in a lob shot, which goes completely over the opponent's head, and a drop shot, which falls really close to the net, and you have a complete Mario Tennis kit. With all these tools at your disposal, it's up to you to determine how you're gonna use them to win that point. However, there's one option. It's so powerful, so broken, so OP, you may have heard of it already or you may have not. Here it is. Also, like other fighters, different characters have different attributes in this game. You can pretty much split the characters up into 6 different categories. All around is your basic jack of all trades, master of none, bread and butter, think Ryu, soul bad guy, Vegeta, you know the type, powerful. These guys don't mess around. They hit fast and hard. You don't want to let them get stage controlled, because once they do, you're in for a bad time. They generally favor the top spin and the flat shot, but they don't really have good mobility. Speedy characters are, well, fast, so they can cover a lot of ground quickly without having to use up resources. However, their shots are pretty standard, and they also have a tough time charging up their shots all the way. Defensive characters don't have to move around a lot. They have a really big reach. At times they feel like a giant wall, but their mobility is pretty terrible. Also, they don't have like incredible shots even if they charge them up, but they're usually going to send that ball back to you. Now the last 2 character types are pretty interesting. So you have Tricky, which can mix you up. Nasty. Their shots curve like crazy. I mean, just look at Blooper's top spin shot. If you're not ready for these guys, they're gonna mess you up. However, once you learn their pattern, they can be more so manageable. Finally, Technical is a character that has really good ball control. They can hit the ball pretty much wherever they want, and they can get some really nasty angles. Technical characters can establish stage control very quickly if you're not ready for them, and they can make you run around all over the court and you'll be in such a bad place. You don't want to let them get stage control. So yeah, these character archetypes make it so matchups can be completely different and unique. And not all characters of a certain type are the same. The game made sure to have a nice variety of characters. Let's take Spike as an example. He's considered a powerful character, but that little guy is actually pretty quick on his feet, so he's kind of a combination between Bowser and Koopa. Some characters can get pretty weird too, like Boom Boom. He's a defensive character, so he has pretty good horizontal reach. Don't ask him to cover anything on the vertical axis, because this guy walks really slowly, both forward and backward. So yeah, a good player can capitalize on their opponent's weaknesses and determine what tools they're going to use to do so. Apart from the matchup things, you can also play mind games with your opponent. For example, you can condition them to cover a certain area because that's what you've been doing the entire rally. And once they seem to get comfortable there, you can switch it up on them quickly, and they'll probably lunge for the ball and hit it badly. Boom! There's your chance to capitalize on it. And now that the ball is way up in the air, it's really clear that you're going to punch them hard. For the most part, you can just hit a fully charged flat shot and the opponent will have a hard time dealing with it. But if you know they're prepared for it, you can mix it up on them. Fully charged drop shot, boom, can't deal with it. I don't know, but it works every time, bro. Or fully charged lob shot. Sometimes they're just not ready for it. Or if you're playing a technical character, send that ball to that damn old corner, man. Also, you can get some pretty good reads in this game by using trick shots. Yeah, I haven't talked about those yet. If you know where your opponent's going to send the ball, you can do a trick shot over to where the ball is going to be and you'll gain some meter back. But if you mistime it, well, you're going to use up some of your meter, but you'll still send the ball back. Oh, speaking of meter, I've kind of been dancing around this mechanic the whole video. So let's talk about it. For the most part, everything I've talked about so far has applied to both standard and simple mode, but this next part is what makes standard mode so special. Basically, you have this bar that you build up throughout the game, we'll call it your special meter. And you can use this either defensively or offensively. You have zone speed, which slows down time for you to catch up to the ball. Zone shot, which you can only use when there's a star on the court, and it basically functions as like a really fast shot. If your opponent mistimes a return, then their racket gets some damage. And after 3 damage is done, their racket breaks.
Alright, Pinhead, your time is up.
Who you calling?
6-4.
Pinhead.
And finally, the special shot, which you can use from anywhere on screen, but you must have a full special meter in order to use. And it can break your opponent's racket if they block it wrong. And even if they do block it right, they get pushed back really far away. To come back to the fighting game comparison, it's a resource that you have to manage, kind of like assist in Team Fighters, double jumps in Platform Fighters, special meter in Street Fighter, you know. You can choose how to use it if you want to use it. You can decide if the risk is worth it if you don't want to spend any. And this special meter adds layers to the base gameplay that I already talked about. Need help in neutral? Boom, use zone speed. Need to mix up your opponent? Boom, zone shot. Need to quickly gain the upper hand? Use that special shot, boy. With that being said, even in simple mode, the game still feels like a fighting game, just more streamlined. And yeah, that's the game. Now, obviously I know this isn't a real fighting game, but like I said, it actually has a lot in common with traditional fighting games. I love Street Fighter, I love Smash, I love fighters. And I feel like I had a lot of the same thought process firing in my brain while I was playing Mario Tennis. There aren't as many intricacies in this game like there are in traditional fighters, you know, like footsies, option selects, command grabs, you know, all that good stuff. But I really think that any person who plays fighting games competitively, they might have fun with this game. There are a couple of little more mechanics in this game I could have touched upon, but I think I pretty much got my point across. Anyway, big shout out to everyone who's still playing this game online. I actually didn't have that much trouble finding matches while making this video. I do wish this game got a little bit more love because, I don't know, I had a really fun time with it, but I will admit that this game, it's kind of not good for casual players. I might talk about that in a future video, but yeah, it's a solid competitive game. It sold pretty well, but it seems like most people kind of forgotten about it, so I don't know. I'm hoping I'm able to bring it into the spotlight, at least even a little bit. And I hope I actually did get my point across. Let me know if you agree with me or disagree with me. I'm interested to see what you guys think. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed my video, make sure to leave a like, press subscribe, and fun fact, if you subscribe to me right now, your next meal will taste incredible. But yeah, new videos delivered weekly, fresh, hot, and directly in your subscriptions page. What is this, Little Caesars? I'm trying to hit 1,000 subs by the end of the year, and it would be great if you guys could help me out. I've been PT Shark. Thank you so much for watching. Dog bless ya. Have a good one.